Alright, good evening heroes and heroines, and welcome to Practising Programming in C, where we're going to continue to use Cinera Sprites. I've got about 2 hours of music lined up, but I am also going to set a timer. Timer plus PPIC, 2 hours, Midblow's contribution is complete, which will ping me once it's actually complete. So, the first thing I want to do is remove this function here. This is just for the old thing before I wrote the get book position from index. I want to remove this, and I also want to build in an OD. This test here, we're testing page count -1 against the position page. I think I'm going to just establish a rule that we basically don't do -1s, we do it the opposite way. So this page count is a thing that goes from 0 and it counts up, and the position page is a thing that can validly be like 0 upwards. -1 is never a value that we need to be thinking about. So I'm going to just establish the rule that rather than testing, rather than modifying the page count, so we end up with a page count of -1, we actually talk about, when we talk about comparing an index against a count, we actually, when we're talking about a 0 indexed thing against a count, we actually bump the index up by 1. So we're talking about the same sort of thing. And that will also kind of get us away from the issue that we had last time, which was the sign error, basically the sign comparison error. I think it's still working. Oh, it's not crashed. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get the JavaScript thing to actually use the sprites to pick the sprites correct, pick the sprite pane, or the sprite tile correctly. That's what we're going to do, and what would this be? I can't remember what I was using last time. Was it Risky Zero? It might have been Risky Zero that I was using. If I just reload that, yes, it was this that I was using last time. Yep, this is the one that I was using, I remember now. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let's get the code up. Ponder how best to pick the focused sprite tile. Right. So I think we do need to do this, basically. I was thinking last time, do we have to go through and laboriously say, wherever it says focus, do we have to then go and actually do some change? It's kind of interesting here that you have a class list remove focused, and then you have a class list add focused on the same thing. Not 100% sure what that is supposed to be meaning. Yeah, that looks very odd actually. But anyway, I might have to clean that up. But in doing this here, okay, in doing this line here, I think this isn't actually guaranteed to be our actual sprite. So we're here, we've got focusing on the first child. Let me just print it out. And I'll also console log the sprite data at this point. so we've got some stuff here. So the actual element is a Cinera sprite and it's on dark. Apparently we've determined that. Mice put platform light. It does know that this is actually the right. So it has managed to pick the right sprite. In this case, data set is a dumpstring up. Sprite variance 3. It does actually know that. Yeah, it will know that actually. Yes, it will know that because that's in the attributes. The data sprite variance is 3. Yeah, so that's where that will be coming from. Data source is this. Right, but I don't think there's any guarantee that it actually knows that. I don't think there's any guarantee that it's the right one. That it's picking, how can I say this? There's no guarantee that this object is actually the one that's the correct one. I mean, it happens to be. I don't believe this isn't a sprite, I don't think. Or is it actually? Hang on. Okay, yeah, it is. So what is this now saying? This is saying that it's a sprite underscore Patreon. Cinera sprite underscore Patreon. But what's this? This is talking about, yeah. So this proves it, right? This bloody hell. This data source. Where can I see this easily? I mean, it's basically, you can see it right there. Mice underscore support platform dash light.png. Right, that's the sprite image that it's trying to use. But the actual one that's on this actual element is Cinera underscore sprite.patreon. Okay, so you can see there's that mismatch. And I think basically what's happening there is that it's just picking the final sprite. You know, in the sprites thing, it's just picking the final one they've processed or something. So it's not right. So with that being the case, I think first of all, there's a two-step process, two-step part of it here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the what is it going to be? Is it going to be Cinera pre? No, I think we've Cinera post.js. I think it'll be. Yeah, so this is the sprite stuff. This is going over all of the Cinera sprites elements. Okay. What I think I'm going to do, first of all, rather than writing this information into a class in this manner, what I think I'm going to do is write this into like data attributes, basically. So that comes through to the correct thing. Sprite has focused. Yeah, I mean actually we won't need to install has focus because this thing actually kind of computes that itself. Okay. All we need to set is the Y focused, the Y disabled, the Y normal, and then stuff like the X dark. And the X normal, sorry, the X light. The X light, I mean, we assume that that's 0. You know, like this thing here, the X light is 0. I mean, maybe I will write that into the thing as well. Probably will, just for the sake of it. Now, once we've got that information in the data attributes, that can then be used by the people who want to set like the focused and stuff. As I say, this is only the temporary thing that I'm going to do as a first step. Remember, all this is doing in JavaScript is taking the image. It has to do this here. So it's got to do a new image, sprite.source equals URL, and then it has to. This is basically that's loading up the image. So all it's doing is actually producing. It's computing the these values here, the y normal. So what I think I'm actually going to do is I'm going to change it so that we don't have to do any of this in JavaScript. We actually do this in our code, in Cinera itself. And that would require us to actually just get that information out of the file itself. So all it needs is the width and the height, I think. Where is that actually? So we've got the sprite. That's computed somewhere. Yeah, this thing here. You know, this thing produces those values. You know, this is the only place where we actually need the sprite width and height. But if we can do that in advance, you know, if we can get the sprite width and height in advance, we could also compute all of this stuff. Yeah, like the tile size if we need it. We probably do. Oh yeah, we will need that actually. We'll need to store tile x and what tile y. Is that in the class? I mean, surely it will need to be. That's kind of interesting. It's not, is it? Tile x. Let's just have a look at where this is. So you've got tile x, desired x, and desired y. Figure out the proportion also. Yeah, so that's using to size the container, its background image. Desired x, yeah. So I think what we probably do is we record the tile x and the tile y. And then probably if there's like a desired x, that comes in from somewhere else, I think. Like if we're told that we need to be some other size, then we kind of like use that and we set the proportion accordingly. So let's start down this path. Let's create some data attributes. I'm going to do the temporary thing in JavaScript first, writing the attributes into the element. That's what I'll do first, and then later, probably in the next stream, I'll do the thing that gets the width and height out of a PNG image first. I've actually figured out how to do that, so it's kind of easy actually, because it's the first element and first item in a PNG file, and then I'll figure out how to do it from a JPEG file. So yeah, we want I think it is just the desired x. Yeah, so let's just test this first actually, see if that's at all how you do it. this, won't it? Attributes. We just console log this actually. Data width. Alright, yeah, that is how you do it. So data width is apparently 16. Okay, cool. So you do this, data height. And then the other things I want are the background size is the sprite.width times the proportion at pixels, so the sprite width. Well, let's come back to this. Let's do the 5 things that we need. We know that we need. So it's the data, it's the x dark, x light, the y's, so dark and light. We've got normal, focused, and disabled. Oh yeah, I was also thinking I'd just use the value. I wouldn't put a dot pixel. That's what I was thinking. I would add that at the point where it's being used. So let's just see what that gives us so far. So there's the data width and data height. The data x dark is at 16. Data x light is at 0. Normal, focused and disabled. So for the Patreon one, that reckons that's what that has. Yeah, which basically, interpreting this, it basically means that you've got the light and the dark, which is what you have got. And then if you look at this person, 16 by 16, you've got the dark at 0, which means that there is no, it basically means that you've only got one column at least. Yeah, that's what that means. And you've got the data Y focused. Yeah, so that, what this means, also, can I just do them as actual integers? Don't know if you can do that. Hey Neopace, how's it going? Neopiece rather. Did I say Neopace? I don't know. Yeah, these look like strings really. I don't know if you can do anything about that. That also says, yeah, that says 3. Data sprite variance is 3. And the way that we actually write it is just like this. So I guess it just transforms them all into strings, I guess. I'm working on sprites. So let me show you a I'll show you a sprite. So here is a sprite, right? And this is like a full sprite which has all of the variants of tiles. So on the left hand side you've got the normal ones, oh sorry, the on lights, on the right side the on darks, and then the normal ones are just the things, just what it looks like under normal circumstances basically. The focused one are things like when where the element is focused. So like if you are hovering over there, that means it's focused. If you're hovering on this means it's, you know, it's focused. And if it's disabled, that's something like this. So if you click that, these guys go disabled. So that's what that's all about. So those are the variants that we have. And I currently do, I think this will work. Yeah. So that has worked to actually set the focused of that, because, you know, we just managed, we did like one version of it in this JS. It's this line here. So these things here are to do with when you input a D, an L, or an arrow right, basically moving rightwards. These things handle that key press basically. Yeah, so that's basically what I'm working on. It's getting this whole kind of notion of sprites working really. In fact, I guess while I'm here, to be honest with you, this thing here, focus element first just from the background position Y, I can actually use what I've already done already, can't I? So if I say the focused element first child, I think you can use a var. Oh, hang on. It's a get attribute, isn't it? So I need to actually say, so the focus element get attribute. With that. Remind myself. Oh, the data Y focused. Okay. So yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that should actually work. Let's see if that's true. Again, we need to go from the left. Yeah, cool. So that's part of it. What I do think though we need to do for all of this is, see how we're getting this first child here. I actually think that in these cases where we're going to class list add focused, I think what you do is you essentially say, is the element itself a Cinera sprite? If it is, then it's set its background position to be, you know, do this operation here, and then continue on through all of its children. I think that's what I should do really, rather than doing it sort of by hand here. Yeah, let's say this, I guess. then we say, that's this information that we just wrote. Yeah, and then I think basically you then go through and recursively call focus sprite, I think. I assume you can do that. Let's do that again, actually. So I don't, did I actually call that? I don't think I called it, did I? Focus sprite. So it didn't fancy something, did it? Support focused. There's Cinera, there's the class. If class list contains Cinera sprite, so we're saying focus sprite. We're calling on the support focused. Now you can see there's only one call to focus sprite. Which sort of suggests, doesn't it, that this ain't cutting the mustard. It thinks there's no children, does it? Well, there's a Cinera sprite child. There's our variants. Got all the information it needs. Child nodes. var 0. That is less than the element children. Plus, sorry. Yeah, I mean we're not entering this loop, are we? Oh, children length is what it is, isn't it? Yeah, is there a child count actually? Oops. The perils of Vim keys mixed with other stuff. Or rather, the perils of non-Vim keys. So, yeah, I will just run this bus. So the element charge is undefined. We add to the loop at least. But yeah, isn't there a way to say like child count? How do you get there? I mean, what do we have? We've got sprites. Child element count. Okay. There we go. This works. Cool. All right. So then, I think if you have another function, it's a similar thing. I mean, we're going to have like focus sprite, unfocused sprite, disable sprite, and undisable sprite, I guess. I don't know, maybe that's fair enough. But it's just a bit weird because they're very, very similar functions, really. Is disabled is what we need to know also, don't we? Let's just use this for the time being. So we need the right, let's do the right arrow again. Oh yeah, right, set sprite lightness. Let's stick that into the focus sprite function actually. I think that's in another file. Okay, so focus sprite. So yeah, where we add focused filter contain, I mean, it might be that actually. That's what you do, honestly. Yeah, wherever you're adding focused identifier. So yeah, I'm a bit puzzled by this actually. This focused element class list.remove focused, and then we say the last focused credit item is equal to the focused item dot next element sibling. Oh yeah, right. Then we change the focused elements. Okay, so I get you. I've got you. Okay, so that's handling the right hand key. Let's now do the left hand. Is this the left? Yeah. So let's go through, do the removes first. And then let's go through doing the @. So yeah, this should handle the left and right keys, which should mean, if I haven't got this wrong, that you know, we should see that on focus sprite is not defined. Oh. Which should mean that we can pop back and forth. So yeah, that didn't really work. Hold on, let's just do that again. Yeah, that hasn't worked in the slightest. So should we say the data wide normal? If we can do this right. Do for itself and then for its children. So the arrow left, focused identifier, remove focused. It should do it for all its children. Well, let's look at the credit first of all. So class list remove focused on focus itself. Set sprite lightness. Okay. And then yeah, should we focus on that? If it contains support. So this is the left hand key. If we're on the support, it should print out the focused element. So it's the A class support, the A-class support should contain a child, shouldn't it? Yeah, it's got a child there. Cinera Sprite. Sprite variance 3. There it's information, right? Data Y focused is -16, data Y normal is 0. And it is the data Y normal which we want to be talking about. So, unfocused sprite, let's have a look at that again. Because that isn't working at all, is it? The unfocusing isn't working. So background position Y is equal to this, the data Y normal. That is what it's called, isn't it? The data Y normal. Data Y normal, yeah. Oh shit. There's our problem. Yay, that's more like it. So actually that isn't right still, because we don't handle the down key yet. So if we go from the left, focused, unfocused, focused, unfocused, focused, unfocused. Perfect. So now let's do the same thing for the up and down keys. So we've got a couple of removals here. Focused element and a focused identifier. Oh, sorry. It's not that, is it? It's unfocused sprite is the actual function. Well, let's keep on going. Focused elements. Focused element. Okay, there we have it. So now we go back through and we say the set sprite lightness. Again, we do it. Our man does it. Alright, so I think we should now be handling all the movement. There we are. That's knowing that it's supposed to go over there. Cool. None of these are using sprites yet. and the guy above doesn't actually know, the Patreon person doesn't actually know about focusing. It doesn't have a focused thing. Oh, the mouse. We need to have the mouse. Hand a mouse a minute. Just give us a couple of minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, so you remember I said something about having to determine if something is disabled or not. As often happens when I go away from the cold face for a second, I remember that we have this ability to know what we are. It's basically if the element class list contains off, then we actually use the off version. It's as simple as that. We don't use that for the focus because that's simply that goes to the focus. Unfocusing takes us out of the focus and to whatever it needs to go to. So yeah, mouse. It's the credits menu, isn't it? It's what we're talking about so far. So you want a mouse enter function. Do we not have a mouse leave? Oh, I see. So we don't have a leave because we're tracking the last focused. Fancy. So is that it then? Yeah, it seems to be. Alright, so I guess we just need to propagate this to the other people, isn't it? So wherever they say focused. I don't think the link has anything to do with focusing, does it? No. It does have that, but it's not really... That's not really a thing that we can respond to. Similarly, the theatre doesn't have anything to do with focusing, really. Technically, or does it? Well, hang on. I suppose if you think about it, this is actually focusing. Yeah, I suppose it is, isn't it? The actual, what I'm talking about is the actual, the image that's representing the menus at the top. I mean, I suppose we don't have them at the moment, so we probably just don't bother to handle it. But I guess if we do have sprites, another thing, these aren't configurable or either. These are just built in, basically. So there's no chance for these to break without us breaking it ourselves, basically. So yeah, I suppose it is just the filter, isn't it? Like that's the only other, the media are the only other things that we could actually have sprites for. There you've got your filter type off. So on mouse enter you've got a navigate filter function. Where's that exactly? Navigate filter. There you've got a class list add focused here. I suppose you just do the same thing, don't you? Oh, hang on. What's that? That's mouse over quotes. Yeah, we don't have sprites in the quotes. At least not yet, anyway. That won't do anything because these are just icons. And I don't think the code currently handles graphical icons yet, so we'll need to actually add that. But yeah, in terms of this, it seems to be operating fine, doesn't it? Right, I reckon these are correct. Let's just switch the theme actually, just to double check. Actually, hold on. This is the stuff that will happen the first time through. If it contains dark. So it's using the sprite data dark. I'm going to instead make it use the actual thing that is set. Is that reasonable? Yeah, I mean, basically, I'm sort of thinking of getting rid of this entire function, aren't I? You know, getting rid of this whole pre-processing thing, or the whole sort of, I mean, I guess you could call it live processing, really. In favour of writing these attributes in the actual generator. Yeah, okay, so that's still pick the dark version. So now what I'm going to do is change the config to use the actual, well, I'll just comment it out because that'll use the thing that we got automatically. That'll use this as the project automatically. Although actually, what it actually does is it uses the most parentful person as the theme, which means that it will use this as the theme, which happens to be the same as this, but whatever. Alright, yeah, so let's pick the correct one. Alright. So now I feel inclined. This is set, oh, we don't actually set it yet, do we? So these, like I say, the sprite data are things that we are going to be setting. The desired X is also something that we set in. You know, that we'll be writing them in the data attributes thing. In the generator. Yeah, and all of this is, it's simply, it's just determining whether, well, it's determining where these things should be, which we'll be able to do a priori. So the width and height, I will know all of these bits and bobs. So, yeah, I mean, I guess the question now is, how long have we got, first of all? Oh, actually, I can see with Interblock, can't I? So I've got an hour. we've got a choice. We can either continue to use sprites in other areas, so basically use them in the filter menu. Pretty goddamn satisfied that this is working correctly. Or we can go and parse the width and height out of a PNG file. And honestly, I kind of fancy doing that. You know, we've done some JavaScript. Let's go and do that. So, all these places here where we do a string to Fletcher 32, there's only a couple of places that we do actually. We can also do asset dimensions equal to you know what, ever since I've known Mr. Fourth Dimension, I've always wanted to spell dimensions like this. For me, dimensions is now correctly spelled thus. But anyway. I think I was thinking of doing it as a vec2 also, like this. I mean, you could do it as a union, couldn't you? But I only need one type of vec2 for the time being, so I'll just do this. We need to add the dimensions to the actual length, don't we? And you see we got the variance there, right? So we can derive everything from the variance value and the dimensions value. That's basically the gist of it. Alright, so get image dimensions. Close the program a moment. And let's just get the PNG spec up. Alright. I think we're entitled to just use the buffer zone pointer, by the way, because that's only used for doing the fletchering, and then it's freed, so yeah. first thing I want to say is, does the pointer match the PNG signature? I mean, it's not a string to match, is it? Yeah, like if you stringify it. That's funny, actually. I wonder if that would work. Let's try it. I'm not sure that necessarily will do it. Like this. Is that not terminated? What's that saying? If it's supposed to co-star bargain to tag uint. Well, it's similar, isn't it? Whatever. Let's say that it just takes a I assume you can do this, by the way. So that is a pointer. Well, this will also kind of be a pointer, won't it? Yeah, dereferencing that. Okay, so console log. Right, let's try again. So B point is equal to B location. Yeah, it's just not letting us in there. So we're saying PNG signature. $137. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so I think an hour to do this was a bit optimistic. So that's what that is looking like. What is the... Let's just get out of here. And that is a /. Oh, right. That'll be why. Oh, shit. Yeah, we need to know if it's actually an image, don't we? That would help. Fletch. If the asset type, is that what you can do? Alright, let's try that one more time. Obviously an image. So let's look at the file path. So we're talking about PNG files, so we should be able to read this. Oh, cool. That's nice to see. We're looking at a PNG file. Perfect. So now what did I change? It was just about the dereferencing of the void, wasn't it? That was all that was. So yeah, if we're looking at a PNG file, then we need to increment the B pointer past the, I mean, I guess the array count of the PNG sig, I guess you could sort of say. Okay. increment past that, and then what we have from memory is a length, isn't it? It's like a chunk length. And I want to increment the B pointer by 4, and then we should have the actual thing. Right, you see, got the length, then we've got the chunk type actually, so we will need to get that out, which is an interesting thing to get out actually. So it's this, which is just IH, it's a 4cc of IHDR. Sorry, that's not the interesting. The interesting thing is the width and height. Actually, yeah, let's just do this. If we don't care about the chunk length, honestly. If they use, I think it's just the B pointer is equal to the chunk length. No, I think we do need to actually now dereference this. Just write this out. Yeah, we don't use it. So I suppose. Let's just try this. See if we get there. Game generations over. So he's going to break us into that. That's fine. I think I'm right in saying that there's chunk. Right, we've got the IHDR, so yeah, we've done it. Yeah, I don't even need to check, do I? So then we just say that the PNG chunk IHDR is equal to the B pointer. Is that right? No. We need to jump past the 4, don't we? And then we dereference that. And then, I mean, you can print out this information if you like. By the way, I should describe actually that I did do this just the other day. So if it looks like I'm kind of confident in what I'm doing, it's because I'm basically doing it from memory. Oh, mind you, don't need to do that. We can just look at it in the actual debugger, can't we? Since we're here. It'd be a shame not to. So those are actually are, but the width and height are screwed up. And the reason they're screwed up is that they're PNG 4-byte unsigned integers. Now, I know how to unravel these, but what basically all these things are, they're not like it's not a U32 in like big endian versus little endian, which, if I understand those right, it's basically where all 32 bits are basically written in the opposite way around from each other, depending on what you're looking at. The way these things work are that each byte, so you've got 4 bytes in 32 bits, rather than it going like byte, let's go from the right hand side, byte 0, 1, 2, 3, it actually goes byte 0, 1, 2, 3, right? For whatever reason. So basically what you need to do is you need to swap those bytes, basically. Flip bytes. It's not really flipping, it's sort of inverse bytes. Let's just say swap bytes. So byte 1 is equal to something. Byte 0 is equal to something. So it's byte 0, you basically take the data, and you've got this 32-bit value, and you basically need to take the top 4 bits, you need to basically shift it down to 24 basically, or 28. No, 24, because it's byte, it's a byte. And for the end one, you just shift that down 24. For the middle ones, you shift this 8 first, then you shift it back 24, and then you shift it 8 again to get it into that correct position. And I think that's it. I think that's all you need. I will actually just turn that into the... Oh, I need to set up result also. Yeah, so I will actually just do this all in one go, actually. So rather than doing that, just say that the result and equals with the data shifted up. In fact, I think it is just literally just... Sorry, or equals. Pretty sure that's basically it. So again, we're taking... You've got 32-bit values, you shift up 22, you're filling that with zeros, so you're getting that in the top part. Taking the next data long, you need to shift them right to give you the opportunity to blank out the bottom 8. And you're pulling in 8 bits from the left hand side also, pulling in 8 zeros from the left, which means you can go back only 24, which gives you the opportunity to blank out more people as you 8 more people as you go to the right. And then you've put your people, wait, is that right? It might be right. I will just run it. Could even know what file I'm talking about as well, actually, to be honest with you. It's a Cinera icon filter. So it's 16 by 16. So the data comes in, it's not 16, it's some value. The result is going to be 0 so far. So I happen to know that 16 is a bit on it. 1, 2, 4, 8. Okay, so is that right? 1, 2, 4, 8. Yeah, so the first. Oh no, it's the first bit, the first byte, isn't it? 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. Right, yeah. So 1, 2, 4, 8. 16, so it's byte 5 is being set, or byte 4 if it's 0 indexed, which means after this operation basically we should be expecting this to be on the far right, maybe. Not exactly sure. Yeah, it's still 0, and what I'm basically suggesting is that this value will only come into play in this shift here. So all of these will result in 0, I think. Yeah. And then finally after this one, this should hopefully be shifting the 16 into position. Yeah, cool. And there we have it. So now that we've got that, we can say that the result width is equal to the, well, we can even say that, honestly. We can just say that, can't we? And then we're done. And again, it's the size of a 4, isn't it? We can use that. Width of chunk length. data width of chunk length. I think that's a reasonable way of going about it. Right, now hold on, print asset. What do we have here? The variance association true. Just run it and see what we're presented with. Because we're not using that, they don't use it. Actually, maybe, yeah, I'd say, where would it be? Like here, yeah. After we synced everybody. So that should mean that we will have the configured template, the configured things in. Yeah, push configured assets happens up there, doesn't it? Okay. So associated false, variance 7, just put it after the variance. Hey, Tony Tedemon. How's it hanging? Done it again. Spelled dimensions like Mr. Fourth Dimension. Yeah, you can just reasonably say width times by height. So what doesn't this like? Variance. So we've got db asset. Pretty good. Doing some good cool zero. Yeah. Yeah, he's quite cool actually. Yeah. I've just pulled out the width and height of a PNG file from the actual PNG file. Yeah, we're going to have to add that, aren't we, to the DB asset. Oh, we're going to have to put the vec2 up, aren't we? Although, what I'll say, actually, I won't put in a vec2, I'll just put it flat. So, after variance, just stick them right here, I reckon. So that means when we go down to printing out the asset, it's not in dimensions, it's just there. Now, when we do this, we also need to make sure when we actually update the assets, because all we've done so far is write it into the array. So let's have a look where the hash gets written. Stored, right, it's just here, isn't it? Well, mind you, that's just for if the hash differs, isn't it? Is that the only place that happens? No. Okay, I think that's probably okay. It's not long, is it? Alright, so I'll have to kill the current version of the database, sadly. Oops. Also, well, I think that's just it, isn't it? Actually. So this has got dimension 0 0. Doesn't exist. So that's understandable. So here we've got dimensions of 32 by 16. That is nice to see. 16 by 16. There's no variance, yeah, understandable. So I'll tell you what, actually, this right here, variance 9, 32 by 16, right? We've got 32 wide sprite, 16 tall, variance 9. So what that means is each variant is assigned a bit. So 9 means that we've got bit 1 and bit 8 set. Bit 1 is going to be the light normal part of the sprite. I'll just show that. Refer to this again. Could probably do with actually labeling this sprite as well, actually. So this is going to be bit 1. I think it goes bit 1, 2, or bit, so like 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. I think that's how it goes. So it's basically 1. So that this is saying, what was it? 1 and 8, wasn't it? So 1, 2, 4, 8. So what it's saying is, right, with variance 9 and these, it's saying that we've got these two things, right? And that's exactly right. Right, if you've got something that's twice as wide as it is tall, where all the tiles are 16 by 16, this is exactly what you'd expect. So yeah, that's kind of working out bang on, honestly. So yeah, I mean, where we output the filter, the sprite in build credits, build credentials. We should see a Cinera sprite somewhere. So here, data sprite variants. We've got the support, this asset here, right? Remember, we were saying that we wanted to write the width and the height into the thing. So where is it? Where's that thing? This, right? Oh, actually, I'll tell you what, dude. Remember, all we needed the width and height for... Oh, sorry. All we needed to load this sprite for was to get the actual width and height. Right. See this right here? right, these values here, what we can do now is just write those values directly into here. So we're going to say data sprite width or something, and that's an unsigned. Data sprite height. It's also unsigned. So it's after the variance. What I'm making. So what I'm making is a website generator, basically, is what it is, really. Assets. Oh, hold on. It's the asset, isn't it? Yeah, that's what I need. So there's a buffer assets. Oh, dimensions. Yeah, we do store that like that. So yeah, what I do is I index videos, and you can actually see this. Can I just give you this? Give you a link. Handmade hero. I'll just send you there. Get there myself. And if you scroll down to this previous episode's thing, so I basically index these videos here. So this is Sunday's episode, I believe. You see this, all this information on the right hand side. So this is just the regular video, the regular YouTube video, and this information on the right hand side is the actual indices that I write. So they basically, they just say what's going on in the video throughout the thing. So it's, the idea is it's to make it, it's just to make it easy to navigate these videos, really, because how long is this? It's 2 hours and 18 minutes, and a bit longer while he actually does the wrapping up. These are questions from people. You got this filter thing, okay, so you can filter off if you want like chat comments. If you're not interested in chat comments, you can filter that off. So you just see the programming. Yeah. Oh, cool. I was familiar with it. Yeah, exactly. You're searching. Searching for something. Yeah. Now this is it's quite an old version actually. This I've been working on this new thing for. It's probably about a year now actually. So you can see that the sorting doesn't actually work on the search results. But if you look on the current thing somewhere, the sorting does work on the results. And also, if I just remove code, you get like all of them in one go, so you can search for everyone. So you've got some in code, you've got some in chat, some in the miscellaneous one also, and then if you want, you can you can filter these guys off in the same way that you can filter off the the things in the actual episodes. These guys, in the same way you can filter that off, you can filter off the actual projects in the search page. And yeah, that's what I'm doing. So Cinera is the program that actually generates this stuff. And the work that I've been doing this past year has been doing this configuration file. Where's my cursor? So this is a test configuration, which has got it's got a load of stuff. It's got Handmade Hero, it's got Risky Business also. I think Bitwise is in here as well. Also, Abner's thing is commented out at the bottom, but he's got a thing. So yes, configuration has been this whole last year's thing. Learning how to do a parser, learning kind of just like what kind of options you need for what kind of features you need from the actual config. An example being like including files and include rules. So these say that you're allowed to configure a person in an included file, basically. Also stuff like absorbing of configuration settings. So if you set base directory out here, I don't think anybody else sets it, right? But they do inherit that setting. So you've got that idea of absorbing settings, the idea of variables as well. So yeah, that configuration has been this whole thing last year, and the very last thing I'm doing right now is just the sprite stuff. And once that's done, I'll be able to actually fix up, like, what do I need to do then? I think I just need to test the transition from the old database version to the new database version. And then just clean out bits of the code. And then, yeah, it's done. So yeah, that's it, basically. So let's let this happen. There's that value coming through. Data sprite width, data sprite height. Okay, so then we go to the JavaScript. Excuse me. And we can just say that the width I think, am I right saying we don't need the sprite, we don't need that. What would this be? How do you do these guys? Get I think that's it. That updated that over there quite nicely. Just go through and just double check. So fast, yeah. So just do that. Yeah, I can let you into a secret about that. So yeah, how the search works is that it actually downloads the whole database, actually. So the search is actually performed locally. I'm not sure if that's going to be a sustainable thing, you know, as things, you know, as these things grow, like I'm not sure if it's really fair to make people download 2.4 megs, is that? I mean, it would be nice if this value here, yeah, 2.4 megs. This is just for code. So yeah, that's basically how we managed to do it so quickly. Is that we just download it all and do it locally. The sorting, I managed to do that quickly by rerunning the search. That used to be slow, and you can actually see if you fancy it. Let me see if I can. Well, got an alias for this actually. So if we just have a look in this, if you're interested in seeing how the search thing sort of came together, I think there's a speeding up the search thing. We're up to like 200 odd, aren't we? 290. Config. This is all database stuff. EU special was last May, or was it the May before, maybe? So the search party, so yeah, the search party planning. This, what I mean by search party is basically multiple people in one search, multiple projects in one search. In order async, multi-projects. It's just wide search page. Two values, nothing. Can I? 1 second. True. Yeah. Another aspect to the search also is that it currently only contains the text of the timestamps. It doesn't contain stuff like the categories and the mediums. I'll just show you what I mean by that in just a second. There you go. This multi-project search speed up. Yeah. This'll be it. If you're interested in seeing how I sped that up. I think that's the right link, I don't know. But yeah, if you look at this, well, hold on. So yeah, all these guys here. So like this has got the speech medium. This has got the chat comment medium. You got like the topics. You know, all that kind of topicy stuff. Now, the search unfortunately doesn't support that currently. And it also doesn't support like the people. So I mean, a plain example. There's an old mate of mine called Canuckles. He's a fellow watcher of Handmade Hero. Right, he's asked plenty of questions, but he just doesn't show up in the search because we don't actually support searching by people. So that .index file, it's not really going to be. It's not the final word on the subject, basically. There will be more to go into it. Now, whether that doubles the size of those things or what, I'm not sure. It's going to be one of the things that we'll have to look at, and if it, if it's blowing up the size of these files too much, then I think we'll have to, we'll have a question to answer basically as to whether we continue to upload to 2.5 megs or 5 megs, 10 megs for each database thing, or do we do the search on the server and sort of try and make that round trip as quick as we can. But yeah, we've now, what have we done? We've just changed the thing, haven't we? Ah. Now this hasn't shown up. Now isn't that interesting? The URL, background image URL. Did I save this? It's possible that didn't get set actually, isn't it? Let's just have a quick gander. Oh. Cinera post 3953. Oh, right. There's that guy's back. Alright, perfect. So yeah, that's just worked. And additionally, that's actually fixed one of the problems that we had, which was basically that when if you do like a what's it called? No cache it. How do you do a reload without the caching disabled? Yeah, that did do the whole thing, didn't it? Disable cache is what I'm talking about. Yeah, so previously, when we were actually using that, this would have failed. So let me just actually prove that. Yeah, I think that was it. There's my timer, but just bear with us just a sec, and we'll answer this question also. Yeah, so you can see there, these guys haven't come through because they're not cached. So I think if I just keep on reloading it, we'll be able to do it. But if I let those get cached, can I just let them get cached? I don't know. No idea how to actually do that on that screen. But if I keep loading. Don't do like that. Yeah, but you can see, I think it's allowed it to cache them. Now it works, but that is simply a product, I believe, of this thing, new image, being asynchronous, basically. But yeah. So we don't solve that problem. And I'm not sure if you're still here, but is there a way you can visit insult? the only question I have about that is, does JavaScript have a good way of talking about binary files? And I'm not sure that it does really. Could be mistaken, but I don't think it does. I vaguely recall looking into this. I mean, that's the thing, really. You know, if in JavaScript you can sort of say, same as in C, if you can say that this is a struct, you want to pull off. I mean, basically, it's exactly the same as what I did with the retyping. Yeah, exactly the same as what I did with the getting dimensions thing. Right. So here, I mean, believe it or not, this is it. This is getting the width and height out of PNG file. You need to swap bytes, and also you need to memory match. There's a PNG sig, but this is the sum total, which is, to me, is pretty great actually. There's no funny business there. There's nothing like calling out to, well, Sean's STB image, for example. I'm not calling out to one of Sean's functions. You know, this is it. But yeah, if JavaScript has the ability to say, like in here, sort of, is this thing really? Define PNG chunk HDR, and then sort of get you pointed to somewhere and cast that bit of memory to this struct. If JavaScript has that, then I think it'd be more tractable. If it doesn't, then you're just living with text formats, really, aren't you? So yeah, that'd be another question to ask at the time. Like, is there a way to do it as compressed and parsing it as a binary? But anyway, I think I'm going to call it there. The time's expired. Kate Bush has finished her director's cut, and we've made some decent progress. We've got the images coming through. I'm now actually handling all the keys in the credits menu. So I think the next thing is, I mean, we are just getting there, aren't we? The next thing, I reckon, is probably just to test this out in the filter menu. So probably we'll just use this test thing again, this test sprite for one of the mediums, and get that working. Probably also do another sprite that's got the a disabled one. And another thing we also do want to do actually is to completely do away with this entire function, which would mean I think it's actually at the point where we push a sprite on, you know, where you push the credentials. At this point here, we've got the icon variance, and we've got the dimensions, width and height. This thing out here is determining where the the various tile offsets within the sprite. I think the next step is to do this lot in C, really, and just send that straight down. Then we don't have to do anything like any of this. The people who need to use the attributes actually just go ahead and use them. Yeah, in fact, now think about it. Does data width and data height, the desired X. This is factoring in the proportion, isn't it? Yeah, so there is still that notion. We need to keep that notion in the back of our minds. But yeah, anyway, writing that information, writing the offsets, you know, this sort of thing. Well, where is it? Yeah, it will be this. Writing these into the actual attributes is one of the next things to do. Yeah, but we'll call it there for now and resume probably tomorrow. So, thank you very much, Heroes and Heroines, for being here, for being beautiful, and most of all, for being weak, I guess. Yeah, and for being such a pain. So, and compressed. Until next time. Well, for now.